Okay, so F# is something I fiddled with before. I don't exactly remember why, but it was a while ago. I really like the language. Well, the language itself, I like it that it's very concise. It's very quick to write, even though its type system is very feature rich. So you can really do all the cool stuff you can do in, like, for example, TypeScript. So it's very easy to model the domain in F#, but it's better thought out than it is in TypeScript, because in TypeScript you have things that do the same thing, like enums and discriminated unions. They're kind of the same thing. In F# you just have what you need. So I really like the type system. Yeah, it's, to me, F# is what C# tries to be and wants to be. Yeah, and that's basically it. I don't really know it that much. I don't know all the syntax. I kind of know how to do things in it. I touched it very briefly, and I remember that I liked it. I read about it a little. I read some books that used F#, but I never really built any project with it. So, well, what I actually wanted to do was to build some, core for web app. Um, and I was thinking about the tech stack. I never did anything in like Node, so I was considering Mern to also do some React. Just because I want, some mainstream tech stack. I don't want to go the correct route with minimal web applications. I just want to go for something big and lazy. And then I remembered about F#. So F# has this thing called Save Stack, which is basically an acronym just like MERN. It's Saturn, Azure, F#, and no, not F#, Fable, and E is, I don't know what E is. Expert? No, I have no idea what E is. Yeah, but it's basically a full stack framework, full stack, where you write in one language. You write in F#. On front end, you have Fable. Fable is just like TypeScript. It compiles to JavaScript. And it also recently introduced this cool thing called Fable remoting. So it's basically like you can have conceptually, of course, it's two different channels, but conceptually you have a single channel that both the server and the client send messages and read messages from. So yeah, it really creates this abstraction where it feels like you're writing a single application. On one hand, it's cool, but I don't like something like this. I think it creates a big indirection that masks some of the things you actually should be aware of. But for creating quick MVPs without going too far off the edge, I think this feels like a good choice, because the type system in F# is really rich. So if you model the domain correctly, it really will protect you along the way, and the compiler will help you to do that. And I think it really boosts your productivity. And at the same time, writing in F# is very similar to writing in something like Python. So it almost feels as if it's an interpreted language that's not type safe, because it infers the types of parameters and variables, etc. Um, so you don't have to specify them, which is a cool thing. It's like using vars everywhere. What else to say about SafeStack? Let's to say about the SafeStack. Yeah, and SafeStack creates these abstractions that I've really focused about quick development and type safety. So it just feels like a perfect tool for freelancing to me. That's why I want to try it out. Yeah, so that's SafeStack. I will post a link in the description if you want to learn more about it. We'll just quickly install their how is it called? Their create a project. Oh, not that. Okay. So let's. How do you want to call the application? It will be some, order management system. So, so let's call it. I don't know. Very. Uh, Actually, I have a name for this. I have this name that I'm using for. I've been using this name for, I don't know, at least 5 projects. Okay, let's call it that. And all these projects were, let's call them cancelled. So I can do that. I've already did that, but just to make sure. Yep, it's already installed. Or yeah, it's already installed. So let new save. And this will create the full application for us. There is a lot of things because it also creates this build system so you can run both applications at once, and it handles everything for you so you don't have to do anything. Yeah, also another thing to point out above F#, it is a .NET language, but it's really this is the original open source .NET language. Before C# was open source, there was F#, and F# really tries to separate itself from the Microsoft umbrella and uses tools that aren't from Microsoft. Like, for example, in .NET, the package manager is NuGet. Now there is an open source alternative. That's I didn't really play with it, but I had my adventures with NuGet. It really does some weird stuff that can throw you off, and you basically can upgrade packages that will break for no reason. And Packet apparently solves some of these issues, so I'm eager to try it out. And then it creates a tests directory and source directory, and here you have client, server, and shared. So like the entire domain should be in the shared folder, and then these are just, like boilerplate, right? Just what you have to do. Well, maybe with the exception of the client has some domain in it because of the architecture it uses. Yeah, so no more coding for now, because what I wanted to do is wanted to run my favorite application and maybe like try to draw some rectangles. What do we want to, what this application will be? Actually, maybe first let's just do this. So the first thing is that the application, well, the business context. The business context is that we have workers that are called, let's say, sales representative, and we have our application. And in our application, there is catalog, and catalog is managed by, yeah, is managed by admins. Catalog consists of different print items, so it's like posters and stuff like this, or maybe like and printing on a pen, on a box, these kinds of stuff. So it's like manufacturing company, and admins can add new items, remove items, change the pricing, stuff like this. And then the clients can browse the catalog, choose what interests them, and create let's say post request. So they post order request. So what does it mean? Basically, since it's manufacturing, usually you don't know the price upfront, right? Because it depends if you want like well, actually, you kind of know the price, but you expect a special offer. If you take 500,000 pieces, you expect to have some leeway on the price. So that's what they do. They post order request, and then so they choose some items. Then they can write in some details. We'll design the pages later along the way. They can choose some item that you can post. We will have a message box that will where you can put messages. Like I expect something, I don't know, like 20% off for this, and then the sales representative they have access. There's more than one of them. They have access to all order requests. They can assign themselves to order requests, so they claim the order. And then they can create an estimate, create an offer, something like this. Okay. And then what happens? The order flow. So once again, clients post requests, representative claim orders. Let's call them reps, just reps. Create offers for clients. And now client can accept or decline the offer with a message. And the client accepts the offer. And what happens? The production service is called that order has been created. Okay, so the order now is maybe order is moved to status, I don't know, ready for proofing. So that's the first status of the order. Now what proofing is? So you have 500,000 pieces. You maybe want some logotype, some custom graphic on the print. So basically what happens is we call the production service, which is some fake API. And like the context is that they get the order, they get the data about the order, what the client expects, and they can prepare the graphic. They can print like some how to call it, like a proof, right? Like a proof piece, make a photo, and production workers. Uh, Production workers sounds not correct for this, but whatever. Let's just call them production workers. They can post proof to the order status proof posted, and then the client can accept, decline the proof. If the client accepts the proof, order submitted production, which is sent again to the production service, right? So that's basically the entire flow. And yeah, maybe you can add some more steps to make it, more interesting. Like you can then say the production service could send like I don't know, the action service will send ready for shipping event, and then so this would notify how to spell this warehouse service. Employees can they can post tracking numbers. Like maybe we can do some courier integration with the tracking, and then have maybe tracking posted the and order delivered statuses, something like this. So that's the core idea, like this flow. Everything is just some sugar coating on top. Yeah, so that's how I expect this application to look. And so the first thing, I think we will. I don't know what approach I want to take with this, because I don't know the technology. I think the simplest approach would be to just model the domain, to just do some like, I'm not very familiar with these practices, but like do some event sourcing maybe, and just model the domain, and only then we can start building the UI and the API, which I think wouldn't be that bad of an idea. So that's something we will do in the next episode. I think we will start modeling the domain, our types, our events. Yeah. So stay tuned.